Hello, movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are just going to cover Jason Mamoa. He has two new films that just dropped at basically the same time, so we're going to go over each because I don't really have a ton of thoughts about either of them, so I figured I would just combine them in one new Jason Mamoa episode. So the two films for Jason Mamoa that just dropped, basically one right after another, if not on the same day, were The Last Manhunt and Slumberland. Now, I'll start with The Last Manhunt because I feel like that's the one that I have the least amount to talk about. The Last Manhunt for me was not a win. It was not even remotely interesting. I very much love the fact that Hollywood is starting to branch out and do more films and more stories that are not just like the same thing over and over. I like, a lot more films about Indigenous people as well, because I feel like we don't get a lot of those stories. That being said, this one was not an interesting one. The movie itself was just very slow paced and very boring, and that I feel like there's no reason for it. And then The Last Manhunt is really just a manhunt towards two teenagers. It's like a Romeo and Juliet type thing. They're cousins and they are in love with each other and they want to run off together, and then the dude part of this relationship ends up killing the girl's dad, which, ladies, really, would you not think differently of your man if he shot and killed your dad? Because I feel like I would. I feel like I would not want to run away with him anymore. But that being said, that's all The Last Manhunt is about. It's just a manhunt of people going out in search of these two lovers that are not meant to be together. And it's a very slow paced, kind of boring telling of that kind of a story. So for me, it was not a win. Slumberland, on the other hand, is a little bit different. I will say Slumberland was not my personal cup of tea, but I didn't think that it was bad. I think if you want a good, family-friendly film or a good film to watch with your kids, Slumberland would be an awesome one. I think it is a great way of kind of helping kids understand grief. I think Slumberland deals with that very well. But it is, in my opinion, like a children's movie or more of a family movie, which is not necessarily very appealing to me personally. So though I did enjoy it, I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't think it was terrible. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was fun in parts, and the way that they did it I thought was very creative. There were a lot of Alice in Wonderland kind of themes to it, as well as several other things. But yeah, those are really my thoughts on both. I would definitely recommend Slumberland more than I would recommend The Last Manhunt. If you are a Jason Mamoa fan, then either one of them probably is fine for you. I like Jason Mamoa, but he's not necessarily a draw for me. So I need the film to really be fun and interesting, and I want to be involved in it in order to want to stick around for that. So those are my thoughts. I would love to know what you guys thought of The Last Manhunt or Slumberland. Subscribe if you want to join the movie nerd family. You can find me on Instagram at Cinematic Sarcastic Podcast, and I hope to see you in the next episode.